We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India, India's voice to the world. This is Sports Buzz. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next half an hour. In Rajkot Test, Rohit and Jadeja tons lift host as India post 326 for 5 at stumps on day 1. Sarfaraz Khan also shines on debut versus England. Rohit Sharma to lead India in T20 World Cup 2024. Hardik Pandya to be Rohit's deputy. Rahul Dravid to remain as head coach. In UEFA Champions League, Bayern Munich lose 1-0 to Lazio. Mbappe and Barcola shine in PSG's win over Real Sociedad. All right, we'll start with cricket. Third test match between India and England at Western city of Rajkot. Skipper Rohit Sharma and Ravindra Jadeja slammed magnificent tons to guide India to a commanding position on the first day of the third test against England in Rajkot. India were 326 for the loss of 5 wickets at stumps on day 1. Rohit Sharma scored his 100 of 196 deliveries, while Ravindra Jadeja remained unbeaten on 110. There was no respite for England after Rohit Sharma's dismissal as debutant Sarfaraz Khan notched up a brisk half-century to add to Tourist woes. For England, Mark Wood took 3 wickets, and it was hard work for England under a hot sun after the pitch had flattened out. But tremendous performance by India after they lost 3 early wickets. Ravindra Jadeja and Rohit Sharma stitched together a magnificent partnership, and then what a debut for Sarfaraz Khan. Debutant Sarfaraz Khan scored a quick-fire 50 and strengthened India's grip on the first day of the third test match against England at Rajkot on Thursday. The batter completed his half-century in 48 deliveries, peppered with 7 boundaries and 1 6. Sarfaraz was ultimately dismissed for 62 as a confusion in the middle with Ravindra Jadeja, leading to him being run out. And earlier in the day, Sarfaraz and his father Naushad Khan's dream became a reality ahead of the third test match between India and England, as the 26-year-old was presented with his debut cap by former leg spinner Anil Kumble. All right, let's go across to DD India's Oli Barrett now. He's joining us live from London. Good evening, Oli. England were well on top at 33 for 3, and with the 2 debutants to follow, what do you think went wrong for England? India batted well post that, or England bowled poorly?
Well, there were a couple of things that went wrong for England, one of which was that dropped catch from Rohit by Joe Root when Rohit was early into his innings, and England will absolutely be regretting that. There were a couple of review decisions that England will think they got wrong potentially as well. For many English cricket fans watching from here in the UK, given the time difference, a lot of English cricket fans are tuning in later in the day, India time, and so many England fans will have tuned in after the period in which England were on top and have only seen the stretch of the day when India absolutely took control. I think most English cricket fans over here watching on television will have felt that India are absolutely on top at the end of day 1. There were positives for England. The recall of Mark Wood to the side, having not played in the second test, clearly went well, taking 3 wickets but also being involved in that run out as well. You have to say that that is vindication of that selection for the captain Ben Stokes. But all in all, as I say, many English fans watching from over here in England, some of them bleary-eyed, getting up very early in the morning UK time to watch this cricket, will have felt, as I say, that India end that day pretty firmly on top.
Absolutely. India 326 for 5 at stumps on day 1. Suchitra Bhardwaj is also joining us from the newsroom. But before I come to go to Suchitra, Oli, once again, I mean, the ball has reversed. It started reversing at the 10th over, and the seamers bowled well. I mean, you think the pitch has also got a slightly easier, or you think it was the class of Rohit Sharma and Ravindra Jadeja?
Well, I think it's clear that the pitch is going to play an important role in this pitch, and what happens on day 2, 3, 4, 5, if we get there, is going to be pivotal here. And England will have felt, I think, through day 1 that the pitch has flattened out, and therefore that means that they will need to try and get themselves some quick wickets on that flat pitch under the baking sun, perhaps early on day 2. Partly so that they can get themselves into bat at a time when the pitch is playing well for batsmen before it starts to deteriorate. If they allow India to bat on too long on day 2, then England will be very worried indeed about coming to the crease themselves with a huge Indian score on the scorecard, and with the pitch potentially not far off, deteriorating and looking very appetising indeed for the spinners. And going back to that idea about selections here, Hartley had a fairly difficult day. Ahmed had a pretty difficult day as well at times. Shoaib Bashir dropped for this test. I think would have been watching on, wishing he was out there.
Oli, also, I mean, we need to talk about Ben Stokes here too. He's playing his 100th test match, 76th player in the world, 16th for England, and he's leading the England team well. Like Oli Pope also said yesterday, that the all-rounder has changed the game in a lot of aspects.
He has. Now, Ben Stokes himself says that hitting 100 caps is just a number, and that his focus at the moment is on making sure England are a successful test team. Well, he has made sure since he became captain that England have been a very successful test team, but he will, I'm sure, want to try and win the game in his 100th test to mark that milestone, but also continue that vein of success that England have been in recently. Clearly, as a batsman, he is still feared by sides around the world. We haven't seen as much of him as a bowler recently because of repeated injuries. So it may well be that during this series he is a batsman rather than a bowler, and not an all-rounder like he used to be. But as I say, still feared by sides around the world as a batsman. But Ben Stokes making it very clear that while this is the kind of milestone he thinks he will look back on at the end of his career and be very proud about, for now his focus is on the team and whether it can be successful under the Bazball style that has been taken on since he became captain and since the side took on a new head coach.
All right, Oli, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your views. All right, we'll go across to Suchitra now. She's joining us from the newsroom. Suchitra, India with a good fight back to hold themselves from 33 for 3. And after opting to bat, they lost Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman Gill for naught, and Rajat Patidar also very cheaply. But Jadeja and Rohit batted brilliantly.
Yes, definitely, Abhishek. The 204-run partnership between Rohit Sharma and Ravindra Jadeja is the highest partnership in this series so far by either side, and that partnership brought back India into the match. If we talk about the partnership, it was not about scoring runs. It was like we can say a conventional kind of cricket. They did not give too many chances to the England bowlers. And if we talk about the second session today, it was the first wicketless session in this series so far. One session going wicketless against this England side is a major achievement for Indian batters. We can say Rohit Sharma, yesterday when we were talking about the match preview, there were some questions over the form of our captain, who is one of our most important batsmen. He has once again proved why he is so important for India's victory. And Ravindra Jadeja playing on his home ground, he was always expected to do well, but this well, I think he has exceeded our expectations, and that's why he was sent before Sarfaraz Khan, because Sarfaraz Khan was making his debut, and once you lose 3 quick wickets, it will be very high pressure for a debutant to go into that kind of situation. And Ravindra Jadeja, we all know, is the best man to send when you have to play under pressure. And this partnership, yes, definitely it's going to be highlight of the day. And if India goes on to win this match, then this partnership is definitely going to be the turning point, because you are 33 for 3 and then you have the best partnership of the series.
Indeed, Suchitra, highlight of the day, 204-run partnership for the 4th wicket between Ravindra Jadeja and captain Rohit Sharma. But Suchitra, India 326 for 5 at stumps on day 1. Now they will look to post somewhere around 500 and then put pressure on England. Will that be India's strategy?
500 on the boards is always a good score to have. I would like to say that Sarfaraz wicket has kind of proved really loss for Indian team. If Sarfaraz and Ravindra Jadeja were there, 500 would have been very, we can say it's a very possible score. But now, because we have lost Sarfaraz Khan, Kuldeep Yadav, the night watchman, is there. Ravindra Jadeja is there, but he has already scored 100. And Dhruv Jurel, we'll have to see how the other debutant fares, because Sarfaraz Khan has proved his worth. The way he has batted today, he was unlucky to get run out that way in his very first test. But yes, Dhruv Jurel will have to follow the footsteps of Sarfaraz Khan. We all know how difficult it is to make it to the playing 11 of Team India. He has got the opportunity, but now he has to perform if he wants to cement his place in the team. So the best opportunity for him, we can say, and he will have Ravindra Jadeja as his partner on the other side. So now we'll have to say how the Indian tail performs, because we have seen how overseas Indian tail has played a crucial role in India's victories.
Suchitra, what a great debut for Sarfaraz Khan. He looked too comfortable on the crease and unfortunately he got out in that fashion.
Yes, a 48 ball 50 in a test match, in your debut test is definitely remarkable. And yes, there was a mix-up and Ravindra Jadeja was on 99, and we saw how he did not celebrate with that kind of passion, because he also knew the importance of that wicket. Sarfaraz Khan standing there with Ravindra Jadeja was really important for Team India if they wanted to touch that 500 milestone. But nonetheless, there's still more to go. We still have some firepower and Ravindra Jadeja is still there. Let's see, he got that 200 run partnership. Now we'll have to see whether he reaches 200 runs also, because he's playing on his home turf and he is going to be the key if India wants to touch 500.
Absolutely. The news later says that India are 326 for 5 at stumps on day 1. Ravindra Jadeja batting on 110 and Kuldeep Yadav on 1. Thank you, Suchitra. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for your views. All right, moving on to our next story now. Rohit Sharma is all set to lead India in the upcoming T20 World Cup in June. Hardik Pandya will be his deputy. And the announcement by the Board of Control for Cricket in India, Secretary Jay Shah, ends days of suspense surrounding the leadership for the global event in the Caribbean and the US. Our report.
The Board of Control for Cricket in India on Wednesday announced that Rohit Sharma will lead India at the upcoming ICC T20 World Cup to be held in USA and West Indies in June. BCCI Secretary Jay Shah confirmed while addressing in a renaming function of the Saurashtra Cricket Association Stadium. Shah in his speech said, "We may have lost the final of the 2023 ODI World Cup, but we won hearts there by winning 10 matches in a row. I am confident that India will lift the 2024 T20 World Cup under Rohit Sharma's captaincy at Barbados." Shah's statement came with Rohit, head coach Rahul Dravid and chairman of men's national selection panel Ajit Agarkar in attendance at the function. Minutes later, Shah told that Rohit continues to remain India's captain in all the formats. He added that the decision has been made in consultation with the selectors before Rohit and Virat Kohli returned for the T20I series against Australia in January. Rohit had captained India bravely in the ODI World Cup 2023 last year and led from the front as the team marched into the final of the tournament, winning all of the round-robin matches. The Indian skipper was particularly aggressive with his batting and provided India with their ideal start in the power play overs. The Indian captain finished as the second highest run getter in the tournament with 597 runs. However, India fell in the final hurdle against Australia. Rohit has captained India in 54 T20 matches, in which he led India to 41 wins with 12 losses. One match ended in a tie. Since India's semi-final exit at the T20 World Cup in November 2022, Hardik Pandya has led India in a majority of T20Is. When Rohit was recalled for the T20I series at home against Afghanistan in January, it was the first indication of him and Kohli set to feature in the 2024 edition. Jaisa also confirmed that Hardik will be Rohit's deputy at the T20 World Cup. Sports Desk, DD India.
It's confirmed now Rohit Sharma will lead India in the T20 World Cup. On to South Africa's tour of New Zealand. Now South Africa handed New Zealand a victory target of 267 on a tricky pitch on the third day of the second and final test at Hamilton's Seddon Park on Thursday. David Bedingham scored his maiden test century. Bedingham 110 mostly scored in a 98-run partnership with Keegan Peterson for the fifth wicket, drove the inexperienced Proteas to 235 all out to give them a fighting chance of levelling up the series at 1-1. New Zealand openers chipped 40 runs off the target in the last hour, but Devon Conway was dismissed LBW for 17 by spinner Dane Peat in the final over of the day. Conway's fellow opener Tom Latham will resume on 21 on Friday as the Black Caps look for 227 runs. They need to secure a first series win over South Africa in 72 years. Now Sri Lanka cruised to a comfortable 7-wicket victory over Afghanistan in the third ODI to complete a 3-0 series whitewash. Set a target of 267, Sri Lanka won with 88 balls to go as their domination of the opponents continued. Opening batsman Pathum Nissanka smashed his fifth one-day international 100 and the second in the series for the hosts. Nissanka finished the series with 346 runs, the most by Sri Lankan in a 3-match series. All right, from cricket to tennis now. Spanish tennis player Rafael Nadal on Wednesday said that he wants to compete at this year's French Open and the Olympics. The 37-year-old Spaniard has won 22 Grand Slam singles titles, including a record 14 French Open crowns. The former world number 1, sidelined by injury for most of 2023, pulled out of next week's Qatar Open, postponing his return to competitive tennis as he has not recovered from a torn muscle he suffered in Brisbane last month in the lead-up to the Australian Open. Australian Open champion Yannick Sinner picked up where he left off in Melbourne with a comfortable first-round win in Rotterdam. The Italian top seed eats past local favourite Botic Van Zandschulp 6-3, 6-2 and will next meet two-time Rotterdam Open champion Gael Monfils after the veteran French wildcard saw off qualifier Denis Shapovalov of Canada 7-6, 7-6. The winner between Sinner and Monfils will face another Canadian in Milos Raonic following the former world number 3 6-4, 6-4 victory against Kazakh 8th seed Alexander Bublik. All right, we'll slip into a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Sports Buzz. Winners and losers in the UEFA Champions League round of 16. And Tiger Woods set to make season debut at Genesis Invitational.
Welcome to Jaipur.
How potent is North Korea's nuclear threat? The Korean peninsula may be on the brink of war. I connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots every Friday at 8 p.m. IST on DD India.
Welcome to Siliguri and Darjeeling.
Welcome back. You're watching Sports Buzz. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. The Indian women's hockey team lost their match against the Netherlands 0-1 in the FIH Hockey Pro League on Wednesday. The women's team dished out a much improved defensive show against powerhouse Netherlands, but lack of sharpness and innovative moves up front saw them lose. This was the home team's 5th defeat in 6 Pro League games so far. Felice Albers scored the match's only goal. A gunfire incident occurred outside a landmark railroad station in Kansas City, Missouri, where the Kansas City Chiefs were celebrating their Super Bowl victory. One person was killed and around 21 people wounded, including several children. Police Chief Stacey Graves confirmed 2 armed individuals were in custody. The incident occurred near Union Station, where the parade and celebration were taking place. Around 800 law enforcement officers were present at the rally and parade. Children's Mercy Kansas City received patients and invited parents to contact the medical center if the child might be in their care.
There were shots fired on the west side of Union Station. Immediately, officers responded to the area, took 2 people into custody, and also immediately rendered life-sustaining aid to those victims. We do not have an exact number of people who were victims of a gunshot wound. It could be upwards from 10 to 15, with 1 deceased. The people who came to this celebration should expect a safe environment. We had over 800 law enforcement officers.
Those who have experienced or been part of or connected to a mass shooting. That is something that I hope we all recognize is highly.
All right, we are getting you these visuals. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in planes for Delhi after successful visit to UAE and Qatar. So we are getting you these visuals. Prime Minister Narendra Modi departs for Delhi after his visit 2-day tour UAE and Qatar. And upon his arrival in Qatar's Doha on Wednesday night, he held talks with his counterpart Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani to explore avenues for strengthening the relationship between New Delhi and Doha. And the scheduled meeting came days after 8 former Indian Navy veterans who were sentenced to death in Qatar were released. And ahead of Qatar, PM had visited UAE. He held several bilaterals there and also a grand Ahlan Modi event. PM addressed the Indian community and he praised UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed and thanked the people present at the event for the rousing welcome. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Sports Pass. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching Sports Pass.